So, why is this area of interest to the British Council, and what can the British Council bring to it? The British Council then aims for a safer, more inclusive and more prosperous world. We do this through programmes that connect people internationally and which we hope contribute to increased intercultural understanding and mutual respect between peoples. The British Council has a very long history, as Mark indicated earlier, of continuing to operate in countries where there's been conflict and also attempting to work with agencies and governments to reduce tension and conflict. We've delivered courses and arts projects to mixed groups across the fracture lines that were recently so strong in, for example, Sri Lanka. Mark mentioned in this region, Venezuela and Colombia. I personally was lucky enough to work on programs for many years in Bosnia and Herzegovina, immediately before, during, and after the brutal civil war, working on language programs that helped bridge communities that had so recently been at war with each other. The British Council continues to run programs in Iran, despite tensions and international soured political relations. We operate in all the countries of the Middle East where the Arab Spring took place, including Libya. And we have had a 17-year English language project based at a university in North Korea that Mark mentioned again. We have worked with international peacekeeping forces in language across the globe and have been quick to respond to the developing crisis with refugees and migrants. But all of this work is in partnership with a range of stakeholders, particularly governments, of course, and ministries of education, as well as other UK and international organisations. A particular area where we've had a long history is in the Middle East, in Syria, and in all of Syria's neighbouring countries. The current crisis in Syria and the huge influx of refugees to neighbouring countries, which have taken in many times the number of refugees from the crisis than the rest of the world, has made us all examine how we can help both the refugee communities and the countries that host them. In the case of refugees, this is through attempting to diminish their sense of vulnerability and to increase the protective factors that can build their resilience. The British Council is seen as being in a good position to act as a conduit to bring partners and experts to work together in devising research and creating activities that can help promote language for resilience. This expertise may be held in a variety of different UK, regional, or global organisations. In terms of language and teacher training, the British Council also has a great deal of in-house experience and expertise. The research and programmes created, of which more in a moment, will, we hope, stimulate debate, leading to further research to benefit both refugees and migrants and the host communities that are supporting them. The key focus is to identify the needs, current good practice, potential gaps in programming, and to consider the ways that the British Council and its partners can further develop language education programmes to develop capacity during times of prolonged crisis, wherever that may occur in the world. So I think some of you may have a copy or a summary of this initial research already, but as a first step in helping to promote an understanding of the language needs of refugees and host communities from the Syria crisis, and in the countries that surround Syria. In 2016, the British Council commissioned a research project which resulted in the publication of Language for Resilience, the role of language in enhancing the resilience of Syrian refugees and host communities. 2 experienced researchers were selected to conduct the research. Dr. Tony Capstick from the University of Reading. Where are you, Tony? Just so that people know, right in the middle, just so you know who to talk to, and Mary Delaney, an educational psychotherapist and author of Teaching the Unteachable, conducted the research. The research explored the impact of language on refugees and host communities affected by the Syrian crisis in Jordan, the Kurdistan region of Iraq, Lebanon, and Turkey, identifying the different ways that language skills enhance resilience and providing suggestions for programme responses that address key needs. It has a specific focus on what was unique What was the cross-sector approach and the range of voices, projects, and views? And I know that Tony will be talking in a lot more detail about what was actually said and that range of voices. Participants included IDPs, NGOs, formal and informal education providers, donors, and participants in the arts sector. All of this was strongly linked in with the United Nations Regional Refugee Resilience Plan.